So Chip's on now, so we'll get
Yep.
going. I mean,
Sorry, guys.
this
That's
is
all right.
really a last minute, quick meeting of the PBC to talk about the high school gym floor, and Chip just gave you a quick overview, of what happened. We have some pictures for you.
Good.
Holy
Great.
smokes.
Despite putting, a big, huge dehumidifier in there as soon as it occurred, um, it just kept getting worse. And these are some of the pictures that were taken. It looks like ocean waves going across. So when there was a walkthrough of the working group, it was determined that uh, there wasn't really any way to salvage the floor, which we were hoping would be the case. But so the working group was asked to authorize an emergency PCO to one, we tried the dehumidifier and it just didn't help. The floor kept getting worse. And the second was to just take it up. And
Yeesh.
so the working group approved PCO 3 for 48,000 to take it up. And as you can see, during the demolition, it's still pretty wet underneath. This
Yes.
is the water that was on the floor underneath.
What's under it?
So there's underneath it is like a residential carpet pad. I don't know if it was put under there for acoustics or what purpose it serves, but typically with these floors they have like a sleeper system or something under them, and they have like a neoprene pad that basically takes up the absorption of impact. In
Yep.
this case, they use this carpet pad to I guess take up some of the impact and some of the acoustics in the room. But unfortunately, what this pad does is it just absorbs the moisture and retains it, makes it like almost impossible to get it out of the room.
Jeez.
So the only way to really kind of get the moisture out of there is to unfortunately pull everything up.
So you're talking like 2.5 inches of gap spacing?
The total thickness of the floor is about 2 3/8, 2 1/4, 2 3/8. That pad is about a 1/2 inch thick, but it basically equates to about a 1/2 inch of water sitting there.
Oh, snap.
Then there was a layer of plywood too underneath the maple, right, Jerry?
Well, sure, yeah, that's the subfloor that they shoot. They basically shot with, I call it hat track, but it's a galvanized metal that there's some of these pictures probably show some of the subfloor that has the slots in it where they would shoot the hat track through this pad, and that's how it was attached to the concrete below.
So the base, the bottom is concrete.
So what we found when we took it up is the old gym floor is actually still underneath it, as you can see in the with the game lines below.
Yep.
So there's a somewhat of a foam pad with a rubber floor on top of the concrete there. But you can basically dry everything up from the rubber is sort of protecting the concrete from getting wet.
So that's why we think we can dry it out pretty quick once all this additional wood is up. Get it dried up and get the new wood acclimated fairly quickly and able to lay it down pretty quickly, because it's not concrete that has saturated with water that has to be dried out before putting a new system down.
So what's the goal here?
So-
I'm gonna put in a new floor.
Yeah, yeah.
So also too, we found out this week, we're, to put in a new wood floor, we had to make a deposit for the wood material so that we could be sure that we could get it. If we hadn't put down an initial deposit right away, we would have lost the wood to another school. So the working group was asked to also approved PCO 4 for 48,500. And then, also, in order to get it to ship tomorrow, we had to do PCO 5. And so the PCO 3, 4, and 5 were for the initial response, the demo, and the wood flooring material itself. And so what this is doing is taking the wood floor up to that underlaying floor, cleaning it up, and bringing in the new material to acclimate. And while they're putting down the new subfloor, and the installation time is scheduled to take about 5 weeks, and we should be complete with the new flooring system sometime the first week to mid-September at the latest, with the new floor.
Is there any insurance considerations?
The thing is we do have builder's risk insurance, but it's a $250,000 policy. So when you look at the total
Mean
cost,
deduct,
yeah, that's what I meant.
The deduct-
250,000 deductible on the policy. So the cost of the flooring system itself to provide and install it is the $228,950. The PCO 3 for the initial efforts to dehumidify and dry up the water costs, and the demolition costs were $48,419. After that, we are anticipating about $4,000 in cleaning costs after the demo. Then dehumidifiers again post demo for about $5,000, and then final cleaning after the new install for about $4,000. So the total cost is $269,269.
Is there any warranty or guarantee with this number?
what do you mean?
Are they gonna, what if it buckles or something? Is it gonna work? Who's
Yeah, I
doing it?
mean, they would not put this down on a wet substrate. So this is, it would be the same warranty you would have on the gym floor and the new school.
Who's gonna make sure it's dry?
The installers, they're going to take on ownership, so they wouldn't put it down if it was not dry, because they'd be owning the replacement at that point.
Did we get quotes?
So the
Yes.
school also got a quote, and I think the cost that they got was within 10,000 of the cost that we had here. And our costs, because we have to use prevailing wage rate, was the higher of the two costs. But even if the school's supplier had put the floor in, they would have had to change their quote to be to prevailing wage rates. So essentially they were about the same in terms of costs.
Yikes. So this has to be what, stable for what, 2 or 3 years?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
Yeah.
correct.
2
Yeah.
school years.
Yep.
And then
And as part of this plan is that the bond is using it as taking it from their contingency. So, so it's gonna be taken out of the bond contingency. Correct?
yes.
All right.
so who do we point fingers at?
1970 contractor that didn't take the pipe out. You go find them, Wayne, and let me know. Yeah, somewhere in the 1970s, this pipe was on the plans indicated that had been taken out. And it had not.
And it's a drainage line, and after it was hit with the intense rain and all, just the area flooded.
Should we expect any other surprises like this?
Probably, you never know.
It's construction. Yeah, good que-
I mean, we've pretty much exposed the unknown drainage stuff that's all across the back of that building. I mean, we've dug through the entire site at this point, but I can't say that we'll never encounter something else. It's hard to say that, but it's, in terms of the old drainage system, I mean, I think we're at the point of removing most of it at this point, because you've got 600 and some odd feet of the culvert installed. There's probably about 120 feet remaining to go across Hemlock Road. Once that's 100% connected, you're gonna have just a few loose ends to basically connect to make all of the existing drainage connect to the new culvert. And then the new one, or the old one will be being removed at that point.
And, just in general, the biggest kind of risk for unknowns is really would be during the ground improvements and building excavation. And we're not completely out of the woods, but we've progressed that pretty well at this point. So the opportunities for finding these types of things are getting less and less.
So seeing this is a public meeting, this is gonna end up in the papers, right?
Well, I don't know. That's not our concern. We have to have a public meeting.
I understand that.
And it's already, Wayne, it's already out there in many different forms. There's been things canceled. There's been notice that have gone out to parents that things have been canceled, and the reason why. This is not a secret to a lot of people.
It's a surprise to me.
Well,
Well,
this is a surprise to
you don't
everybody.
have kids in the school department. This has all come around in the last 5 days. So that's why there's a meeting tonight to make you guys all informed on it.
Wow.
Yeah, I tried to provide all the information by email as soon as we had it available to send out as well. So hopefully you had a chance to take a look at that.
So we're gonna spend $290. Is there any type of a 5-minute warranty on this? What, is there anything on this?
For what?
It does have a warrant, like if
Spend the
something
money.
happens, the installer that's putting it down is responsible to make it right, if that's what you're talking about. It does have a warranty on it.
All right, So-
The existing pipe has all been, I don't know, capped or whatever, or just so it won't happen again, I'm assuming, right?
So they put a sump in the area with a pump, right, Jerry?
Right, but that's not the permanent solution, of course. There's a manhole that's coming in this week to basically take the flow of this unknown line, and it's going to drain into the new culvert. So the connection of this line will now drain to the new culvert to take that water away from the building.
Did anybody CCTV it or anything, or investigate where it's coming from or anything, or do we just,
So we talked through that, but I mean, the thoughts on this is that in 2027, when we take the building down, all of this stuff is going away 100%. So
Yep.
I mean, how much do you chase it, right? Like we
Yeah.
know this water is either coming, I'm sure some of it comes from the roof, but I think some of it might come from the front parking lot as well, coming under the building, because at some point the field house was added, and there used to be drain manholes and catch basins where the field house is, and I'm suspect that some of that stuff is still connected, because it's a 15-inch concrete pipe, and you don't typically have a 15-inch concrete pipe for a rain leader that close to the building. Usually it's cast iron and smaller than 15 inches. I mean, from my experience, but
So if we spend the $290, could it flood again?
no, he just said that the captain is going through the
No,
new
I understand,
culvert.
Joe, I understand that, but could it flood again?
Sure,
I mean,
anything can happen. If we have a 300-year storm and something else happens, it could, but
You think it
they're
happened this
putting all the,
afternoon?
they're putting all the drains in front of the doorways. They're connecting this culvert, the pipe to the old culvert. I mean, and we're regrading outside the doorway. So is it probable that it's going to happen again? I would say there's always a chance, but I don't think it's probable. All the precautions are being put in place. Nobody wants to spend $290,000 and have it done again. We've thought about doing another type of floor. We've thought about not replacing it in wood but doing a resilient floor. But the timing of it all and having to get it back and ready for volleyball this fall precludes any discussion with any coaches to do something different. And no, would never come up with consensus. And 3 months from now, we wouldn't have a field of floor for basketball. So the only way to fix this, make it so that the gym is usable for the school and for the school season, is to replace the floor
Kind.
with in kind. Same floor, same paint, same striping, all of it exactly the same. And then nobody can question anything.
Yeah, as far as the floor system, I mean, my concern is that we're not gonna do the same system where it has this insulation pad underneath.
Oh,
It's gonna
God,
absorb
no.
wind.
Correct.
Right. So as long as that is moisture resistant for whatever this, being over the substrate, because you have basically a membrane underneath this floor, and making sure we have the same capacity to have airflow under the floor. Any water that does mitigate into there is not gonna damage the floor.
Certainly.
Yeah, and no water should mitigate into there. I mean, this was a one-time occurrence.
Sure.
I really believe that to be the case.
But again,
If
the
it's
floor
fortunate-
system, as long as it's done properly, should stay off of that membrane that sits underneath it and not
Yeah, it has
migrate the
to,
water into the floor system.
absolutely, and it has to stay up because the floor system will have a resiliency. So these floors can't go down directly on concrete.
Right.
Because if they would, all these kids that are growing bigger and stronger and taller and can jump higher would have no shins, no knees, and no calves left. So there is a resiliency or a bounce to these floors that go in. And that system just in that line stays off the concrete and off the hardness. I think 100% of this issue was the capturing of this water in the carpet underlay. I mean, I've never seen
100%, Chip. You are absolutely right.
it had to be for sound, and I've just never, in all the floors I've seen designed or installed, I've never seen that or heard of that.
No, 100% correct, Chip. We've had wood floors that have taken on some rainwater on occasion and they would buckle, but they'll come right back down. You can salvage them. In this case, it's absolutely the cause is that unforeseen pad that I've never seen in my 30 plus years of doing schools. Anybody ever install that in a floor system? Never seen it.
So there's no way this price is gonna go up, right?
No, this was the quote.
This is a fixed price.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Extra. read
Not,
it out.
not in any of our projects, maybe in North Reading, but not here in Wakefield.
No, I've heard that in Wakefield too.
Not anything we've done, Wayne. So, Lynn, do we need a vote on the whole thing or just a vote on the three PCOs?
So this is the vote that I was
The
asking
the
for.
whole thing.
Gonna have the whole thing, okay.
Yeah.
All right, is there any other questions or comments from anyone? Hearing none, Mr. Tarbell?
I just want to say, Joe, yeah, I will make the motion in a second. I just want to thank Jerry, the bond team, Lynn. I mean, this got pulled together real quickly. We've got guys in there real quickly. This is an emergency overhaul that I think we've reacted to pretty well. Yeah, it's a big ticket item. Got it. Understand it. But we're now in the process of putting it back together. And if we had dilly-dallied or not had this meeting, we would be under a ton of criticism. So I appreciate all their working towards this. So now I'll make a motion. I vote to approve costs to replace the existing gym wood floor, damaged by water, infiltration, which includes PCOs number 3, number 4, and number 5, and additional dehumidification and cleaning for the sum of $290,269.
Second.
Any further discussion? And not only do we thank Bond and Wakefield and everyone else, Mark, Tom, and Wayne, appreciate it. 3 other members of our committee are on vacation, and 1 other member of the committee could not get out of work. So we made a quorum by the skin of our teeth. So is there any other questions or
Thank you
comments?
all for that.
Hearing none. Mark,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Wayne,
Yes,
Chip,
Yes,
and I approve it as well. The motion carried. So that's all.
all right,
the
Jerry.
business.
Jerry, you can start the demo.
It'll be done tomorrow, Chip.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You did.
All right. So once again, thank everybody for pulling
Yeah.
this off in,
Yeah, absolutely.
in less than a week's time. We really appreciate it, everyone involved. So the next is the working group on the August 1st and the after as well. Okay, and the next meeting, I think, is the 15th.
One last
Yes.
quick
Yeah.
thing. Guys, we are going to, Jerry, I don't know, or Lynn, somebody needs to pull this together. We need to see the design and the painting schedule for this floor. So we don't delay. We've got it, what used to be, but I don't think we can put it back exactly as it was. So we need to think what goes down at center court,
Yeah, absolutely.
so
I would
at some
suggest
point,
maybe just a W for
well,
now.
whatever the
Well,
school
let's
seal
what
is
the
now,
school
yeah.
wants. Yeah, whatever the school
Right.
people want. Okay,
Yeah.
Sounds
right.
good.
All right,
But we
sounds good.
need to get that, pulled together too fairly quickly.
We'll,
We're not delaying.
we'll get FJ Roberts to put together, their shop drawing, and then obviously will be submitted and can be tweaked to
Yeah.
whatever folks want.
Yeah, but I hope, do we have a picture of the old floor? Of
The old logo?
no, not just the logo, but where the stanchions were for volleyball and all that stuff.
So
Did we
I-
have an as-built kind of created?
I have multiple pictures. Roberts has taken dimensions. I did salvage all the old brass plates as well. We cleaned those up.
Oh,
And,
great, okay. But Roberts took his dimensions, so he knows what he's putting back in.
yeah, he's been out
And where?
multiple times. He's actually coming back out tomorrow to kind of look at the subfloor, the pieces, like how I explained how we were gonna,
Jigsaw it together,
yeah, keep it out 6 feet.
Oh,
And,
yeah, right.
So we stripped off, and actually, Chip, remember we were looking at how where it rolled at the end of the court there.
Yeah.
As soon as we took that maple off the top, the subfloor sat right back down.
Did it really?
It did. It had no memory. It was just the maple that was kind of
The
causing it to
maple
buckle like that.
was holding it, yeah.
Yep. So
Okay,
he's coming out tomorrow to kind of go over all that and just see what any limits of anything else that we want to kind of tear out. But I mean, obviously the intent is to get anything that was wet gone before we put down any of the new stuff. So
yeah, and then Jerry, I'd just like to see what he's what he's proposing to do, the system that he's proposing to put in, and how
You
it all
should-
meshes together, and
we
the
we
din
have-
and all of, the din and all
You should
that.
have that chip in your email, the whole specs on the system.
yeah, we have all that stuff, the specs on the system. And then what I can talk to him about though is just trying to do a little something or other for the painting scheme and the game lines and stuff.
Right, just so that we aren't surprised when it all goes back together. And I don't want any delays either. So the more we can do up front, the better we'll be.
Yeah, I mean, like he mentioned when we were out there, I mean, I think there's There's some benefits to doing staining versus painting. You know, I guess less of the two-tone schemes and things like that that would take more time. But certainly you got to give all the game lines back that were there. So
Yeah, and we need to, whatever we're doing, we do need to vet through the coaches, which Tim O'Brien can do, just so nobody is surprised by anything.
yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't have to be a, what do you want? It can be a, this is what we're doing. And if you have any real heartache about it, call, but otherwise, this is what you're getting.
Yep.
How many,
Okay.
Okay?
how many square feet is that?
I want to say it was like 120 by like 180 or something like that.
All right, anybody
So,
else?
All good.
All right.
Yep.
A motion to adjourn and we shall adjourn and see you in 3 weeks, or actually next week, next Thursday. All right?
Well, for the working group.
Working group and the tour.
And a tour.
Yep,
So at that point, we can probably look at this space as well.
yep, we can take a look at that time too.
Yep.
All right. Thanks
Alright.
thanks again, everybody.
Thank
We
you,
really
everyone.
appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
Good night.
night.
Tom.
Right.
Good night.
Thanks, guys.